Hello everyone, my name is Dmitry Rogozhny and today we'll be looking at the calendar web part. This is the demo project that shows how you can build a custom web part that will show events in a calendar. First I will show you the functionality and then we'll take a look at the implementation. So let's start and let me remove this web part and we'll add a new one. So the web part is called calendar. And we can provide a title for our calendar. So, for example, vacations, calendar. And also we need to specify a list that stores events that we'd like to show. And I've got a list of events called vacations calendar in here. And that's it. Now I've got a calendar with a list of events. And that's it for the functionality. And now let's take a look at the implementation. First of all, for showing a calendar, I'm using the full calendar component. It is an open source project and it provides a connector for React, so we can use it directly in our React components. As for the source code, here I've got a single web part called calendar, and I'm using several open source packages in this demo. For example, in the property pane we can select a SharePoint list, and this is done using the property field list picker. It is from the SPFx property controls project, and it is a reusable property pane control. So if I'll scroll down to the get property pane configuration function, you can see that I add the configuration for the list ID property, and I'm using this list picker control. Also, to get a list of events from a SharePoint list, in order to get this information, I'm using the PNPSP package. So in the onInit function, I'm configuring this package by providing the web part context, and after that I'm calling the getEvents function, passing the list ID of the list with events. So getEvents function, as you can see, it's using the PNPSP package to get a list of all items, and then using the map function and toEvent function, we convert these list items into a list of events. So as you can see, I've got this toEvent function which takes a list item and returns an event. So iEvent is an interface that I've defined right here. So you can see it's a really simple one. So I've got only a title, start date and end date for an event. So here we get a list of events, and we store these events in the private variable, and we call the render function. And the same would be the same logic would apply in the case when we change something in the configuration pane. So for this, there's the onProperty pane field changed. This function will be called every time we change something in the property pane, and here we check that the property that has changed is the list ID. If it's true, then we call getEvents with the new newly selected list, and getEvents will once again retrieve all items from a list, convert these items to a list of events, and we'll call a render function. And in the render function, we create a calendar React component, we provide properties to this component, and we ask React to render it. And in the calendar component, let me show you the render function. So as you can see, we've got a div, and inside this div we've got the web part title component. which will show the title for the web part. And this component is from the SPFx controls React package. So it's a set of reusable React components. And in the edit mode, web part title component allows to specify the title for a web part, and while displaying the information, it will show title as the heading. And also, in addition to the web part title, we've got the full calendar component here. So we provide settings for this component, and we provide a list of events. And full calendar support different ways, different data sources. And here I'm using a really simple one. So right here, I've got an array of items that are required by this full calendar component. They are of the extended event source input type, right? And I get these events by taking the events passed in the properties. So this will be our iEvent items. And I use map function and two extended event source input function to basically to convert event into an event that will be accepted by the full calendar. Basically, it has got the same information like title, start and end date, but the names of fields will be different, and there will be additional information. So once we've got in the render function, once we've got a list of events, for every event we specify a custom background color, because by default they will have all the events will have the same color, and it will it doesn't look really good, because when we've got lots of events, it's really hard to distinguish different events. So for this, we take a list of predefined colors. I've got this list right hard-coded right here, and we apply different colors to for each event. And that's it for the rendering logic. And the last, we've got the CSS file, and here you can see that we've got the class for a calendar, and inside it we've got a global attribute, inside of which we import main CSS from the full calendar. So we import all the CSS styles for a calendar, and after that we can apply or override styles provided by this calendar by default. So for example, here I override the heading 2, so it will look more like the more SharePoint like. So I apply the font weight and font size, so it will look nicely. And this one will be the month name in the calendar. And also I change a little bit the representation of the event. And in the same way, you can change other classes to modify the representation of the calendar. Okay, and that's it for the calendar. And if you, I will provide the link to the source code in the description. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.